This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, let's get some energy in here. Get some energy? Oh my gosh. Can I just, I want to just tell my kids that people are here tonight. Can you just make some noise for a second? Woo! Louder. Yeah. Come on, something. Oh boy.
Watch on the camera?
It's a nice crowd tonight, but everybody is half asleep, and I didn't even start yet. But tomorrow night is the holiday of Sukkot, and I want you to know one guy that's in the class, and always comes every week, told me I can't say his name. It's unfortunate because I really want to say his name, but he told me not to say his name. So I will just say that Yom Kippur was this past Shabbat, and I invited people to come to my shul, whoever doesn't have a place. And one guy showed up. But you know what time he showed up? A very bad time, 8 o'clock in the morning. I said, you don't understand. This ends at 7:30 at night. And it's 8 in the morning. I think you came a little early for the first time being in shul. You might have come a little early. So what I suggest is you take a break at 11, you go home, you come back. All right. And before I knew it, it was 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock. And it's 2 o'clock, and I turn around, and he's still going at it. He's still going to it. Now there's a break. So it's 2:15, and most people pack out to go home for 2 hours to get themselves ready for mincha and ne'ilah. But this guy, he stayed, packed himself 3 books, and he kept going during the break. And sure enough, at 7 o'clock at night, now we're in the 11th hour, I turn around, and he's still going, still talking to God. And finally, shul ended at approximately 7:50, and we could say he did as we call it the bagel. You know, when you sleep the bagel, you sleep the full 12. So I'm happy to say that someone actually took me up on an offer to come to shul for the first time. I sat 12 hours in shul. And it gives me strength, it gives me chizuk in all the Jewish people, no matter how far or how long it's been, you can walk back in and reconnect in one day, and you know what? Not even get bored. 12 hours, he's like, no big deal, it's a great day. A lot of catching up to do. It's been a while. So what's the big deal? 12 hours. I didn't even say the full 12. I even went home for a break. So every Jew, there is hope, no matter when it happens, at 20, at 30, or 40. And even though this boy graduated in 1999, 2000, I don't care, 19 years later, it's great to have him back. Okay, so now it's getting ready for Sukkot. We have to now segue into this holiday when it was just, a whole day praying and singing and fasting, into a holiday where it's Zman Simcha Seinu, a time of happiness where you're eating and drinking, and you got to sleep outside, eating the sukkah, and you have parties every night, sukkah basis sheva. It's unbelievable. What's the transition? How are we going to segue from this high to this party? What was God thinking? So you just know, tonight's your last night to buy your lulav and etrog. Okay, you can go tomorrow. Now everything's cheaper for those Jews that waited to the last minute. You're very lucky. If you bought an etrog last week, it was probably $150. Tonight you go on Coney Island Avenue, probably down to $50. And basically, I can't teach you all the laws. The only thing you have to look out for on your etrog is those black dots. Okay, obviously it has to look good. It has to have the pitum and everything. But if you see a lot of black dots on top, problem. So then put it back and find something else. Okay, as my brother-in-law was looking the other day, we know the big following BLM, right? Black Lives Matter. You know that, right? Everybody knows Black Lives Matter? You never heard Black Lives Matter? So my brother-in-law for Sukkot started a BDM, which is Black Dots Matter. Okay, for Sukkot, Black Dots Matter. You pick up an asterisk, you see black dots, you put it down. And he's going around with signs, Black Dots Matter. No one's selling, no one's buying those stupid signs, but he thinks he's funny. So when you go tonight, I will teach you afterwards how to buy a lulav. The esrog, you got to look out carefully. $50. If you go to Rabbi Silverberg, $10. But you might be late for that. You should have called him today. Okay. So what is this all about? Take out your sheets over here. I'm going to read you one thing. You don't have the beginning. I'll say it outside. When you build your sukkah tomorrow, if it is higher than 20 amos, the Mishnah says, 40 feet, it is disqualified. Okay? So look up at the schach. Look at the roof. How high is this roof over here?
11, 12 feet.
Okay, no big deal. If it's higher than 20 feet, sorry, you are sitting in a disqualified sukkah. Even though it has the schach, the bamboos, and it's got the walls and everything's perfect. But if it's too high, it is disqualified. Okay, so the Gemara jumps on this and says, why? What would be so bad if you're sitting outside if it's too high? Big deal. It's still cold. The wind's still coming in. It's still a temporary dwelling. What would be the big deal if it's too high? And there are a few opinions in the Talmud. I just copied one. Okay? Look inside. Rava says we can derive it from here. It says in the Torah, in Sukkot, you shall dwell for 7 days. Here the Torah tells us, for all the 7 days of the festival, leave your fixed dwelling and sit in a temporary dwelling. Okay? You got to leave your house for these 7 days, move out, and move into a temporary dwelling, not a permanent one. It doesn't mean the walls have to be necessarily made out of canvas. My neighbor actually has a retractable roof on their kitchen. So therefore, when Sukkot starts, they just unwind, I guess, the roof. They have this whole mechanism in there. It retracts. They still sit in their kitchen. They put then schach above, and that becomes their new roof. That's considered temporary. They don't even have to leave. But whether you leave or not, you have to move into that place. Now they shut it down. Too many leaks, because if you think about it, let's say it starts raining during your meal. Instead of going into the sukkah, it's going into your kitchen.
But that's cheating.
That is cheating. It is cheating, but Torah says as long as the top is fine, it's made out of the bamboos.
What if you have a convertible car?
Okay, so if you have a convertible car, then you have to know the laws, the height. You have to know the laws of the sides and the windows. So you have to know about the laws of lavud, which means it attaches. You have to know the laws about akum and good achis, where I can't explain it all. But yes, if you're driving in a convertible, or if you're driving in your Jeep and you open your sunroof and you put schach above your sunroof, it is very possible, if you happen to know laws, that could be good. If you happen to know laws, but I'm not going to teach you to right now. Better just build one in your back like we did and stop. But I can't say it's cheating. The fact is, if it's good, it's good. You can't argue. You might not be in the spirit of the law, but if it's good, it's good. Now, the question is, Gemara wants to know, now, 6 lines down, you're not reading. Now, until a height of 20 amos, until a height of 40 feet, a person can make his dwelling a temporary dwelling. So if you ever build a structure, if you have a roof that is 40 feet high, okay, or less than 40 feet, you actually could put flimsy walls up and it'll stay. But the Gemara says, once you make a wall or a roof over 40 feet, 50 feet, 60 feet, and you put a flimsy wall, guess what's going to happen?
It's going to buckle.
It's going to buckle. A 10-foot high sukkah, a flimsy wall will make it. You put a canvas wall, 10-foot high will make it, the structure. Put a 50, 60-foot sukkah with a canvas wall, one wind will knock it down. Therefore, under 40, kosher. Over 40 is not considered a dwelling. It's still got to be a dwelling. Even though it's temporary, it's got to be a dwelling. So what does it say? However, at a height above 20 amos, a person cannot make his dwelling a temporary dwelling. Rather, he must make it in a fixed dwelling. So therefore, if you want to keep these walls up, if it's 41 feet high, you're going to have to make it out of marble or rock or brick. And therefore, you can't do that. Now listen very closely. I want the first guy to give a question right now. 2 tickets, double tickets for the question. You ready? Eddie, you ready for this? Double tickets. If it's 21 feet high, you can't use it. Why? Because you're forced to make the walls permanent. You have to make it out of brick, otherwise it'll fall down. But if it's not, get a chair. Oh, there are 2 chairs there. But if it's 19 feet high, even if it's made out of brick, it's still fine. If it's 19 feet high, made out of brick, it's kosher. If it's 21 feet high and made out of brick, not kosher. Anything bother you? Again, if it's 19 feet high, 19 amas high, it's made out of brick with the schach, bamboos, kosher. If it's 21 amas, Made out of anything not kosher. What bothers you? Anything bother you? Yes, Ruvain.
Why does that, if it's brick, if it has to be brick over 21,
Right?
and not brick, and brick, I don't know how else to
If it has to be brick over 21, but you happen to build it out of brick 19, yes, continue the question.
It's still kosher.
What?
It's still kosher.
Yes, what's the question?
One foot should
Why
be
isn't it the
different.
same way?
Well, the Gemara, you have to give a limit. I guess the Gemara has to figure out a limit when there's a certain time where it's not going to stand up. So you can build a 10-foot and say this is still good with canvas. 15 at a certain point, you can't build a 300-foot tent and expect it just to stand. So you have to give a limit. But the amazing thing is, if it's made out of brick, 10 feet high, it's still 100% kosher, even if it's a permanent dwelling, as long as the top is chach. So I think I think you were bringing home the question. I expect my YU guy over here to ask me what really should be bothering you. Nothing bothers you? Can we make believe like people are here?
They're both permanent.
They're both permanent! Thank you. Actually. At the end of the day, they're both permanent. Who cares if it had to be or couldn't stand? At the end of the day, if you're sitting in a 15-foot hut and you make it out of bricks and stone, it is permanent. It's permanent walls. And they'll say, oh, yeah, and you'll say, the guy's going to say, you're sitting in a permanent wall. You'll say, yeah, but I could have made it out of canvas. Because I could have made it out of canvas, and I decided to make it out of brick, it's kosher. Because I could have done it the other way. But you who made it out of 25, because you had no choice, you were forced to make it, you're not kosher. And you have to ask the question, who cares? They're both sitting in a stone sukkah. What is the difference if it's 15 amos or 25? At the end of the day, I can understand if one guy's sitting at 25-foot wood and a 15-foot, okay, it makes sense. He's going to blow down. But they're both sitting in a permanent structure. I saw my former neighbor on Ellen 27. He bought these Coke cases. He collected them over a 3-year period. You know, where they put the 6 bottles in. He kept them all, those plastic cases. And he must have had like 60 of them and made a sukkah from them. Packed them up, Coke, Dr. Pepper, Sprite, those big thick plastic containers. Put them in the wall. Put some schach above. He had a Coke sukkah and a Sprite sukkah. 100% good. The walls are good. Temporary walls, it's okay. It doesn't have to be anything. If it was 21 feet, we're not big up. Because it was less than 20 amos, it was good. But what Ellie wants to know, and it's a great question, and this is a question which actually I read in a book from Rabbi Yisrael Miller. But I just found out this year that it was really from the Saba of Kelm that asked this question. What should be the difference, and how can this lesson that we just spoke about make a difference in my life tomorrow night when I'm sitting in my little hut and I look up and I say, you know what? Even though mine is made out of brick, but it's under 20, I could have made it out of canvas. But I decided, and therefore it's kosher. What lesson are you going to learn? And how are you going to take that lesson for the rest of the year and hopefully be able to change your life? So, as we discussed the other day, is that what most people daven for, we said this on Yom Kippur, the number one thing people daven for outside of health is money. And the number 3 thing you daven for on Yom Kippur was money, right? And the 4th thing was
More money.
more money. And the 5th thing was just a little more than that. And then the 6th was just a tiny bit more than that. And then the 7th was, maybe I could, Hashem, I want to learn more. I want to finish more Gemara. Maybe I want to get closer to you. But usually the top one was health, I assume. And then 2 to 6 was money. And amazingly, we are now transitioned into a holiday where on this holiday we're actually going to be celebrating our money. Amazingly. In fact, it's such a great celebration. In the old days, they used to they used to harvest all their land from the whole year. They used to store it up. And King Solomon, in the last, we read during Sukkot about how to handle money. And we're going to be praying for, who knows what we pray for on Sukkot? Rain. How do you say rain in Hebrew? Geshem. Geshem is short, the root of Gashmiyut. What's Gashmiyut?
Waste.
Material.
Yeah.
Material possessions. So we're praying for rain. And Geshem, Gashmiut, is material stuff. So this holiday is about materialism. Finally, this whole Yom Kippur was about spiritual praying. Gosh, damn, I love you, you're good. And now all of a sudden we're like, money, we're praying for rain and Geshem, and what's going on over here? What's the point of Yom Kippur going into Geshem over here? So I would try to explain this to you today. It's not going to be a long class because I have to go finish buying my Arba Minim. I have already the lulav, I got the etrog, and now I need two more things. What do I need? A rabbis and a das. And you should just know, even though an etrog is $100, if you decide to wait 9 more days and buy it, you can get it for how much, Mike? No, a quarter. So just wait till after the holiday. The esrog is worth as you can buy a quarter. The only thing is, if you want to buy it today, you can probably spend $100. And the reason is because before Sukkot, God tells you to use your esrog. It gives it value. All of a sudden now it has value because God says use it. But once it's over, God says you don't have to use it. It's like buying an apple, buying a grape. So if you walk on Avenue J, you could just imagine the Gentiles walking by and they see a fruit stand with a bunch of yellow fruits. And they'll say, how much is that? And they'll say, that's 50. So he'll take out $1. I'll take 2. And they'll say, what are you talking about? I'll take 2 of those yellow things. 2 for $1. He'll say, no, sir, it's $50. And he'll say, what you talking about, Willis? $50 for a fruit? And you'll say, how do you explain that God said to the Jewish people at Sinai, you shall take a fruit? Don't even bother. Like God told us to shake these fruit. It's only once a year. If you shake it the day before, shake it the day after, it's worthless. Shake it on the first day of Sukkot, which is this Thursday. You'll see a mitzvah mobile, Lubavitch driving around. You'll see. They're going to be coming over to you. Are you Jewish? You're going to say, yes. You want to shake this thing? And because you went to Rabbi Rosenfeld's class, he'll say, yeah, I know, shake it here, I know, I'm getting a big mitzvah. Right? But in a week from now, they're not going to bother you. Once God says this is important, it instills it within value, just like a sneaker. You could buy a sneaker for $5 or $10. The second LeBron puts his name on it and says, this is cool, now you're spending $300. Why? Because the African American said it's cool. Because you value it, what you value, that's what you'll pay for. You told my father to spend $300. He won't know what I'm talking about. So why for $300? So, well, LeBron put his name in. Who's LeBron? He's a basketball player, and therefore you won't even understand what we're talking about. But because you value that, all of a sudden the value of that thing is like, I value basketball. I value that man. I respect him very much. He tells me it's worth $300. He put his name on it. I'm going to fly like him. I'm going to buy it. But if God says it's good, listen, I like God. He ain't worth no $300. For God, $5. Even though God created LeBron and incredibly gave him this tremendous gift, but that's no big deal. For some reason, LeBron is more popular than God. And just the way it works in the world, there's nothing we can do. In Israel, I think God wins. That's not true. I think LeBron's more popular there too. That's true. Depends which community you're in. Depends which community. Depends which area. But anyways, I digress. So therefore, let's discuss this right now. Let's give you an answer to this question, and then you can be dismissed. So, okay. So if you look if you open the Shulchan Aruch, which I don't have in front of me, Shulchan Aruch, the Torah says that there are 3 holidays correspond to the 3 forefathers. You ready for this? 3 holidays correspond to the 3 forefathers. Okay, let's see if you can get this is guys that really had to study Chumash. If you did not study Chumash, you ain't going to get it. You ain't going to get it. You ready?
Jacob, of course.
Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob's of course.
Jacob is Sukkot.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, because he never had a permanent place to stay.
Psst, I like that. Okay. Flata says that Jacob is Sukkot. He was always on the run. Never had a permanent place to stay. And therefore, he had to have Sukkos correlate to him. Well, let's see if that is true. First, we're going to start with Abraham. We'll save yours for last. Abraham corresponds to Pesach. Why? Because where do you see Matzah and Abraham? Come on, bring it home. 3 angels, yes? He brings them into the house. He says to Sarah, Mahari, go hurry, Lushi Vasi Ugos. Go and bake Ugos. What does it say over there? The translation, it was Pesach time. Bake matzah. Oh, it's Pesach time. It was translated matzah. Good. Avram corresponds to Pesach. Very nice. Yitzchak, what was he famous for?
Shavuos.
Okay, Shavuos. Why? Very good. Yitzchak was famous for because what happened to him? What happened to Yitzchak? Come on. Okay, that's Yitzchak?
He had the vision.
What?
He had the vision.
He was almost killed at the Akedah, right? Instead, what did they use instead of him?
Ram.
They used a ram. Those ram's horn were blown at Sinai. The shofar at Sinai was the ram's horn. And therefore he corresponds to that. Sukkot, you ready? Vladi, see if you're right. It says over here on page 178, it says, by Yaakov, the last few words, Yaakov journeyed to Sukkot. He built himself a house for his livestock. He made shelter, and he called the name Sukkot. Yaakov needed a place to put his animals, so he put it in a hut, and he called it Sukkot. And because of that, we named the holiday after him Sukkot. And you have to say, huh? Because he put his donkeys and his cows, and he built a place called Sukkot, and he put them in there. We're going to name a holiday after him. What lesson is it supposed to teach us? Ready for the answer? We're almost done. You guys are surviving. No one fell asleep yet. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed. Okay, I would like to repeat a beautiful Arizal. This is very deep Kabbalistic stuff that I heard from the great Rabbi Eli Mansour, and I have it inside, but the only copies I have is this Gemara, so you're just going to have to believe me. And this is what he said. He says like this. He said, every tzaddik, I'll tell you what happened over here. If you look inside on page 174, it says that Yaakov Avinu went, on verse 25, he was left alone without his family. And when he was left alone, he was attacked by the angel of Esav. Does anybody know? Oh, come on, I need some answers. Rabbi Silver's class. Does anybody know why Yaakov was left alone? Where was he going that he was left alone? Does anybody know why he went back for?
He was going to get something for God, like a vessel.
He was going to get his little vases. Very good. You guys learned in Sinai on your own. He went back to get his little vases. And because he went back to get his little vases, therefore he was left alone, and all of a sudden he was attacked. Now, Yaakov Avinu went back to get a little vase. Yaakov Avinu, this is a man, his whole life was spiritual. He went back to get a little vase. What was he thinking? Picture yourself on a trip. You're going on a trip to Niagara Falls. You have 8 guys in a van. And after your trip, you're on the way home. And now you're up to Buffalo. It's 2 hours away, and Boris gets up. We got to go back. Uh-oh. What did you forget? You forgot your tefillin? You forgot your talit? You forgot your wallet? What did you forget at the hotel? I forgot my socks. We got to go back. Boris, we're not going back for your socks. No, I got to get my socks. We're not going back for your socks, your smelly socks. We don't have to bring them in the car anyway. It's going to, no, we got to go back. Right? I guarantee, no matter how much he begs, you're not turning around. You know why you're not turning around? Because it's your socks. It's $1. When you get back home, we'll buy you a pair of socks. But we ain't going back to get you a pair of socks. That won't happen. So you hear a picture of Yaakov. He has his 4 wives, he has 12 kids. He says, I got to go back. Now we have to understand. Think of the biggest rabbi of this time. Why you got to go back? I forgot my small little cups. Okay, Dad, you know what? We'll get you some more cups. We'll get you some more. It's okay. You don't have to go. You'll get your little vase. I got to go back. I'll leave you all. You go. I'm going back. And he goes back because he had to get his $3, $4, $5, whatever it costs, right? And the Gemara says, you know why tzaddikim do this? They go after everything. You know, we always have this thing that Jews love money, right? So maybe this is where it comes from, because it says that Jews, it's not just Jews, tzaddikim, right? Eliezer says tzaddikim love their money like their bodies. Tzaddikim, not like regular guys. Righteous people like their money like their bodies. And you have to say, what? I thought tzaddikim, all they care is spiritual matters. You might like their money like their bodies. Tzaddikim, what is the Gemara telling me? Why in the world would they like their money like their bodies. Every little possession, if they have a cup, they're going to run back home to get their cup. So there are many answers to this question. One of them is, tzaddikim are like guys that are going out to war. So you know guys go out to war. They're in this world 80, 90 years. They're on a battlefield. They believe that everything they have is necessary. Just like a soldier. When a soldier goes out to war, what does he take with him? Ask the soldiers in this class. What does a soldier take? He doesn't pack his CD player. He doesn't pack his iPhone. He packs whatever he needs. 3 pairs of socks, 3 pairs of socks. 1 pair of boots, 1 pair of boots. 2 guns, 100 bullets. Everything he needs. Now, he doesn't carry extra, no reason. Because when you're in a battle, you take what you need, get the job done, and it's over with. Take it to tzaddik. They say, I'm on this world. Whatever I need, whatever God gives me is what I need to live. So therefore, if God gave me like 10 cups, that's what I need. So I'm going to take care of them because I'm like a soldier. Also, one other beautiful thing. They don't look at their money as you look at money. They look at their money like a businessman, like a Steve Jobs did, or a Bill Gates, like he looks at time. If you ever look at Bill Gates' schedule, from the time he wakes up at 6 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock, his entire day is filled, every minute. There's no time to chill. Bill Gates, or any of these guys, Warren Buffett, look at Warren Buffett's schedule, the entire day is filled. And he's like, I think Warren Buffett's now 84, and he's still, 87 now? And he's still going strong. Full day. Why? Because time is very valuable. So therefore, let's say a person has, get yourself a chair. Let's say a person has, let's say this table. How much does this table cost?
200.
$200. How much does a person make an hour? Average person.
25 to 30.
Let's say $25 an hour. So how many hours does it cost to buy a table?
8 hours.
8 hours. So think about it. If someone has their table, he looks at the table and says, this table is $200. That's how much I had to pay to buy this table. That means I had to work 8 hours for that table. I had to work 8 hours to get that table. Therefore, when they look at this table, it's not about them, it's about their time. This table is 8 hours of my time. This is 8 hours of my life in this table. They value that. Therefore, when a tzaddik buys a watch, he has to think, am I spending $100 on this watch? That means I got to work 4 hours to buy this watch. Is it worth 4 hours of my life for this watch? I have to make that calculation. I got to spend 4 hours of my life to get a watch. Cheap watch. Is it worth 4 hours? So when they buy that watch, they look at this watch, it's not about the money, it's about the time. This watch is 4 hours. This is 4 hours of my life invested in this watch. If I lose that watch, I just wasted 4 hours of my life. Tzaddik does not waste 4 hours of life. This table, I paid $200. That's 8 hours of my life. If I break this table, I broke 8 hours of valuable time. I got to take care of this table because this has cost me 8 hours. Therefore, they don't love their money. They love the value of their time. So therefore, they appreciate. Yaakov Avinu had his little cups. He said, I'm going back to get those cups because those cups probably cost me, 37 minutes. I'm not wasting my 37 minutes. If I had to put up those 37 minutes, I'm going to go get it. Right, Mansur gives his own example, beautiful mashal. He says, once upon a time, this guy was so poor that he did not have any money even for buy a cup to wash his hands in the morning, to wash the Netilat Yadayim. You go into any bookstore, it's probably 45 cents to buy a Netilat Yadayim plastic cup. He was so poor, he didn't have any money. So one night he went to sleep crying to Hashem. He cried to Hashem. Cried the whole night. Hashem, I'm so poor, I don't even have money for a cup for Netilat Yadayim. He cried himself to sleep. The next morning he woke up, stood up, and he felt something under his bed by his foot. He looked down, and there was a plastic Netilat Yadayim cup with a little note on it, and it said, "From God." And this man went wild. The greatest miracle in his life. It's like Sinai. He experienced it. He asked, and he received it from God, a gift from God. And he treasured this cup. Every morning he used to watch. He used to put it in its proper place. He used to clean it. It was a gift from God. And he used to wash and kiss the cup before he went to sleep, put it back on the night table. But one day, amazingly, he bought a lottery ticket, struck it rich. Became a millionaire overnight. He moved out of that little dinky apartment and moved to a beautiful house in California. And they're moving all the stuff. He's unpacking his old furniture, whatever he took with him. And he says to the movers, "Excuse me, we're missing something. What is that? I had a plastic cup on the bathroom. You didn't bring it. And he's like, we have it. Where's the plastic cup? It was a plastic cup. You didn't see it? And they're like, I don't know. I'm sorry. We're in California. He says, okay, I'm going back. The guy says, are you crazy? It's $1. I'll give you $1. He says, no, you don't understand. I got to get the cup. Why do you have to get the cup? We'll give you $2. Don't bother. He says, you know who gave me that cup? Do you know who gave me that cup? I don't know. Who gave it to you? God! God gave me the cup. This guy's weird. God gave me the cup, and I'm going to get that cup. So he gets back, and he zooms back to California, and he gets that cup. Because you know why? Because who gave it to him? Who gave him that cup? God. A tzaddik, the way he looks, you can get a chair from the inside. The way a tzaddik looks at his possessions, everything he has, he assumes, God gave it to me. How could I waste it? If God gave me this table, that means he obviously thinks I need it. I value it, I appreciate it. It's a gift from God. If God gave me this jacket, if I was able to have this jacket, obviously God wants me to have this jacket. You say, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam malbish arumim. As you say the blessing every day, you put on your jacket. Thank you, Hashem, for my clothing. This is a gift. David, we're like, my kids, they go to camp, they lose stuff, they leave, I can't find half their stuff, their sneakers. But it's tzaddik, I have a jacket. Obviously, God wants me to have this jacket. He values that jacket tremendously. And therefore, when it says they love their stuff, the reason why Yaakov Avinu went back to get it is only because he values, because he looks at it as a gift from God. So that's why. That's only the reason it is. Now, I'm going to end with this. So it says, in deep Kabbalistic sources, Yaakov Avinu and Esav had their first negotiation. When was the first time Yaakov and Esav had their first... I got to think very... Right, before you shout out the answer. When was Yaakov and Esav's first negotiation? Think closely. Yes. In the womb. Very good. I thought you guys were going to say the lentil soup. I think they were going to say lentil soup, but they were arguing. No, in the womb. What was the negotiation in the womb?
Who gets out first?
Who gets out first? That was a fight more.
The shul.
Right?
Shiva.
Right. Well, what was the negotiation? They were both trying to get out. What was the negotiation? They're actually having a conversation, deep Kabbalistic sources. Anybody know what the conversation was? What the deal they're going to make? Anybody know?
The one was going to be in charge of the monetary and one of the spiritual.
Very good. Body's on fire. Very good. 2 tickets. Double tickets for you. I have it in the school. You'll come pick it up tomorrow. They were negotiating about the worlds. Yaakov said, listen, I want Olam Haba, and you could have Olam Hazeh. So Esav said, what's down here in this world? He says, over here you got money, you got girls, you got hot dogs, burgers, and sesame chicken, and sushi, and Lamborghinis, and, mansions. Oh, okay, good. I like that. And what's in the next world? Oh, next world, spiritual world. Total spiritual, connecting with God, bliss, but it's all spiritual. No 72 virgins? No, wrong religion. Sorry. That's this world. So Esav says, okay, we'll make a deal. I'll take this world, you take the next world. Yaakov said, yeah, you sure? Sure, no problem. Esav said, fine. I got this world, it's mine. I get everything. You take the next world. And sure enough, that's the deal. And therefore, all of a sudden, they come out. Yaakov Avinu is going to be the spiritual. Esav. Now, this is very high level. Don't ask me questions on this. This is a ton of Dvel Yodi says. In fact,
why couldn't they both accept?
Why couldn't they
both take over?
Why couldn't they both? Esav wanted this. Now, how does this work in the womb? Don't ask me those questions. These are good questions. In fact, when by the lentil soup, when they actually shook on that deal, where Esav is going to sell his firstborn, Yaakov Avinu said, Mechor kayom, sell me like today, your firstborn. How do you say today in Hebrew? Hayom. He doesn't say hayom today, he says kayom, like a day. Like what day? Like what day are you talking about? See, the rabbis say, you know what day? Remember when we were in the womb and we were having this negotiation about this world and the next? Let's finalize it right now at the lentil soup. Like that day when we started, let's finalize it right now. You take this world, I take the next. We'll settle it right now for a bowl of red soup. Fine. Esav says, deal! That's why they called him red. He was all about here and now. He says, I got this world, you got the next world. It's a perfect life. There's only one problem. If you turn to page 177, look inside. Esav's coming to kill Yaakov on page 177. And sure enough, Yaakov raises his eyes and he sees Esav coming with 400 men. He wants to kill him. So what does he do? He divides up his camp. He's got Leah, Rachel, he's got 4 wives, he's got 12 kids, he's got cows, he's got animals, he's got everything. Right? And then all of a sudden, page 179, it says, he raised his eyes, he saw the women and children, and Esav asked, who are these to you? Which what you thought they meant, hey, where'd you get married? Like, where'd you meet these girls? No, he was asking him a great question. He was like, what's going on? You got 4 beautiful wives, 12 kids, millions of dollars in cattle. I guess today that would be he came with a fleet of cars and helicopters and Lambos and Ferraris and everything like that. You got all this stuff, and he's like, what's going on? That's you're breaking the deal. Remember, we decided twice. I get this world, you get the next. What are you doing with this beautiful family with a mansion, nice cars in the driveway, and lots of money? Right? Now this answer, the Jewish people have to answer the Goyim at all times. Because we're supposed to be the spiritual people of this world. Yet Jews, you walk into this neighborhood, the Jews got really nice houses. The Jews are driving the really nice cars. So here you're having little Eugene driving an old Chevy, and Yankala is driving a Lexus. And this Yankala is supposed to be a big rabbi. And Eugene is like, I don't understand. This guy is supposed to be a big rabbi. He's got a big beard. He's got pays flying, everything. He's got tzitzis coming out. He's got a big yarmulke. He's wearing this big furry hat. He's got this long coat. He's supposed to be a spiritual guy, and he's driving a Lexus. And me, Eugene, is trying to find a girl on a bar. I pull up in an Oldsmobile. What? It doesn't make any sense. Shouldn't he, the big rabbi, be driving the old broken down Chevy? I mean, isn't that what he's supposed to be? So Eugene walks over to him. He says, Rabbi, I don't understand. I thought you were a spiritual person. Isn't that what it's all about? You daven 3 times a day, you learn, you do mitzvahs, you want to go to the next world. What are you doing with such a nice house? What are you doing with such a nice Lexus? What are you doing with such a nice watch? And you know what? He's right. That's not the deal. He's right. A spiritual person should be focused on having his little fish. Right?
You're saying because it's not congruent?
What?
Because it's not congruent?
Isn't it? I mean, does it make sense?
I mean, it's not congruent, but does it take away, if he likes the car?
So I'm saying, can he answer that? Can he just say, you're right, I know I'm a spiritual, I liked it. I put down 60 grand because I just liked it.
That's what
I like it. And he's like, and it's a bad taste. Like, usually like 60, I mean, for a guy like you, 60 grand, I can't see Rabbi Katzins putting 60 grand. I just can't see it. I can't see Rabbi Silber putting down 60 grand. If you had it, I can't see it. If you tell Rabbi Silber he has 60 grand, promise you he's not buying a Lexus. Not doing it. It was like he would be like embarrassed over. Like, I don't need it. And then you see this guy drive one. It should bother you. Like, what is going on over here?
That's what he needs to carry his mission, though.
What?
That's what he needs to carry his mission.
Okay.
To get to know world.
So I don't know about Eugene's neighbor, but that's exactly what Yaakov answered. Yaakov said, everything is what you see here is what I need to get to the next world. Yeah, you see, I have 4 wives. Yeah, I created 12 tribes. That's what I needed. And you see lots and lots of money. I got a big family to support. But you think I do this for myself? Not at all. His great-great-grandchild, Rabbi Yehuda, Judah the Prince, the richest Jew in the world in the time of the Romans. And before he died, they said to him, wow, you really had a great life. He says, I didn't enjoy my possessions to a pinky. Not a hand, a pinky. Everything I had was for the Jewish people. He needed all this money to bribe the emperor. It's an amazing story. Nothing for himself. Not one thing was just for himself. Everything he had was for a higher purpose. Yaakov Avinu says, everything you see here is exactly what I need. Therefore, when Esav said to him, you know what, take back the gifts you gave me, Yaakov says, Yesh li, I have everything. You don't want anymore. Most of us will take more money. You have 30 million, you want 60 million. Most of us, when you play Powerball, if it's at 50 million, we won't play. 50 million? Please. I'm going to waste my time for 50 million? All of a sudden you see the sign, 400 million. all right, I'll go. 400 million. Right? If it's 30 million, you're crazy. Waste my time going for 30 million. And then taxes, 15. I got to get 15. My mother's going to want 5. And my cousin from Russia's coming from Uzbekistan. He's going to want 2. And I'll be down to 8. You know. So not worth it. But 400 million, I can give the guy in Uzbekistan. I can send money to Moscow. I can send money. It's worth it. That's what we do. Yaakov Avinu is offered a gift. Yaakov Avinu says, Yesh li kol. I have everything. I don't need any more. I won't need it. Esav says, Yesh li rav. I have a lot. Never said I have enough, because he's right. A guy never has enough. Donald Trump should not have enough. When you see Donald Trump, Donald, why are you marrying one lady? And then you marry another lady. And you marry a third lady. And then you buy one building. And you have a gold wedding. And you have a plane. And you have a helicopter. There are guys in our neighborhood, and I know them personally, that are richer than Donald Trump. I know a few guys that are richer than Donald Trump is worth maybe $1 billion if they go through it. There are guys in our neighborhood that are billionaires, but you look at their houses and you will not know. They don't have helicopters, they don't have planes. But Donald Trump does. Does he need all that? He doesn't need it now, he has Air Force One. Does he need it? No. But the fact of the matter is, it's okay. You know why? He's allowed to. That was the deal. A guy can go and buy, like Jay Leno has like 47 cars in his garage, or 57, I forgot the number. He collects cars. You say, Jay Leno, why do you need so many? Don't you need just one car to drive around? And Jay Leno will tell you, hey, that's the deal our grandfathers made with Esau and Jacob. I get this world, I get what I want. So therefore, he goes shopping, he buys himself a Rolex. Okay. Next day, he goes shopping again. Cartier. Jay, why do you need Cartier for? I don't know. I'm bored. I want to spend $20,000. That's not normal. It's okay. I'm allowed to. I'm Esav. I'm from Esav. I'm allowed to. It's my world. I can buy 30 watches, 40 cars, have 50 girlfriends. That's my life. And you know what? He's right. Donald Trump can build them as much as he wants. You say, oh, he's crazy. He's a guy. Why not? They took this world. Enjoy it. So if he wants to have a place in Florida and a place in Mexico and a place, well, not Mexico, and a place in the city and wherever he's allowed to. 30 houses. Why do you need 30 houses for? 400 suits. Michael Jordan buys one suit, he wears it one time. That's it. Buys a shirt, wears it one time. He'll never wear it again. He'll never see it with the same shirt. Wears it one time, pair of sneakers, one time, gets rid of it. You'd be like, why? Because he can. Well, he can't do it, and he's allowed to. A Jew, on the other hand, is not allowed to reach a contract. Which means, what Esav is telling Yaakov is, okay, now we're going to run into a problem over here, because how do you ever determine what you really need and what you don't? I don't know how to answer that question. But if a guy says, Eugene says, excuse me, why do you need a Lexus for? That's a $50,000 car. He'll say, well, it's to run my business. When I pull up at clients, I have to look good. Because I have to impress clients, it's good for sales. And why do you need to make so much money? So, well, I give 20% of my money to charity, and I go and I support this yeshiva and that yeshiva, and I have this kid learning, and I have that kid, I have 9 kids, and these private schools, and I need the money. Okay, it's a good answer. You don't see me spending frivolously. I don't have 10 watches, I have 1 watch. I have 1 pair of shoes. Yeah, you see a big house. Of course I need big houses. I got 9 kids, they're getting married, they have grandkids, I have 47 kids at my Shabbos table, and I need a big house. Okay, it's true. It's all for, you're doing it for the right reason. And why do you get a nice suit for? Got to look good. Torah says I have to look good. I represent the Jewish people. I don't go crazy. Buy a couple suits. I go Shabbos. You're supposed to spend. What's the big deal? A lot of people can't answer. Some guys don't have an answer. But it's amazing that Esav and Yaakov discussed this. And therefore, what happens when Yaakov was left alone? Who attacked him? Who attacked him when Yaakov was left alone? The angel of Esav. He's like, what are you coming back for? You going back to get your cups? That's not a Jewish thing. You go back for $5. That's what you're doing? That's not the deal. Yaakov Avinu get into a whole fight, back and forth, and Yaakov Avinu won. What does this have to do with us? And this is how we're going to end it. I waited till now, we're going to end it. What does it have to do with us? At the end of the day, Yom Kippur happened. We were all on a spiritual high. And now we're going to go into Sukkot. And now we're going to sit outside. And then you're going to look at your walls. And the question we had was, what is the difference if it's 19 Amos or 21? If it's permanent in both instances, what should be the difference? Who cares if it's 19? If it's permanent, it's permanent. The answer is no. Listen closely. If it's 19 Amos, it's okay. Because it doesn't have have to be it doesn't have to be permanent. Again, if it's 19 feet, it's okay because it doesn't have to be permanent. I could just as well be in canvas. But 21 means I have to have it. What does that do with my life? Same thing with your car. I'm driving a Lexus. I'm driving a Jaguar. Someone says to you, is that what you need? And you know what you tell them? I don't have to have one. If you told me I have to have a different car, I'll take a different car. I like it. I was able to afford it. It was no big deal for me. But do I have to? I don't need it. I don't need it. But it's just, I can afford it. Some guys, they can't survive without nice stuff. Some guys can't survive without the coolest sneakers. They can't survive without the coolest ties. God says that's not a Jewish way. You can have all the beautiful things, but is it a need? Like you wake up every day, I'm not going to be happy without this money. I'm not going to be happy without then that's not the Jewish way. What you have is what you need. God gave you. But if you're waking up every day, all day, I need money. What God said, what do you need money for? I just need a plane. I need hotels. I need vacations. That's what I need. God said, no. That's you're the wrong religion. You're Jewish. Yes, you can go to Florida, you can go to Israel, and you can go travel to California. But do you wake up desperate? If you didn't, and you weren't able to, you'd be like, okay, I don't have it. It's fine. That's a good sukkah to live in. You can live in that type of sukkah. You can live in a permanent, as long as you know that if you had to live in canvas, you could survive. But if you're the type of guy that can't survive unless you have all the materialism, then that's the 21-foot one. Puzzle, disqualified. That's not the type of Jew you have to be. You could have all the luxuries in the world, but the question is, are you married to it? If you're married to it, then you're in the wrong religion. A Gentile could be married to it, no problem. He could be miserable without his money, and he's allowed to be, because that's what he's supposed to be doing on this world. He's supposed to be amassing as much wealth as he can. Steve Jobs, 8 billion, 10 billion, whatever you want to do with it. Warren Buffett. But if you're a Jew, if you have it, great. Use it to get to the next world. We get married. The reason why we have a girlfriend is to get married to them and build a family with them. You have a girlfriend at 17, you say, well, why have a girlfriend? I don't know. I just like girls. Is anything wrong? Yeah, that's not what you're supposed to have a girlfriend for. If you're Morrow, you can have a girlfriend. That's what you have 3 of them. You have 15 of them. And somebody asks, why do you need 15 girlfriends? It's the deal we made in the womb. I can have 15 for no reason. Ask a Jewish guy, why do you have a girlfriend at 17? I don't know, I like them. That's it? No higher purpose? No, I like girls. Sorry, that's Asa. You're on the wrong team. Come back there. I'm dating. Why are you dating this girl? I'm thinking about marrying. I want to get married. You date as much as you want. Put on a nice suit. Take her to nice restaurants. You're going to get married. You're going to build a Jewish family. Take her to the fanciest restaurants. After you're doing a great thing. Dress your best. Best cologne. You're on a mission over here. Pick her up a nice guy. You got to make sure that she's impressed because you're on a spiritual mission right now. Only the nicest restaurants for her. You're on a spiritual mission. It's a wonderful thing. But if someone says to you, why are you dating her? I don't know. I like her. Out of here. Wrong. That's it. Wrong place. That's not the deal. Therefore, God says, you can have all the billions of dollars, but just remember, it's got to be Sukkot. It's got to be temporary. You got to remember it's all temporary. When you're sitting in your mansion today, and tomorrow night, you take all your dishes and you put them outside, and you take your bed and you put it outside. You take your washing station, you put it outside. I'm sleeping tomorrow night in the Sukkot, and I'm going upstate, and it's going to be 50 degrees. You cozy up with those sweatshirts. My kids love it. Everybody in the sweatshirts, the blankets, and you're sitting there. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. The lights go off, and you hear the wind. You hear cats running outside, and you look up. The bears. Now you scare me. I'm going inside. But you're looking up at the sky, and then all of a sudden you're like, when you're in your house, your alarm is on, the air conditioning's on, the heat is on, and you lock the doors. You feel very secure. When you're outside, you're like, whoa, you know what? You realize that this is a temporary dwelling. My life is temporary. Look at those people in Las Vegas yesterday. 1 minute, people in Vegas were partying, drinking, getting high, watching a concert. And 5 minutes later, 59 are dead. They're dead. And 500 are injured. Life is temporary. You're outside the Sukkah, you say, my gosh, my life is temporary. What am I doing with my sad life? It's such a temporary life. 59 people alive, a minute later, they're not here. And they have to ask themselves, what did I do with my life? When you sit outside, the whole day is spiritual. And Yom Kippur. And then you get into the physical. But you take the physical, go outside and say, all my possessions I have, all these Jaguars, they're all temporary. What am I doing? It keeps you focused. And then you're sitting outside, you're looking up, and you see the sky, and you realize, you know what? The only thing that really I can depend on is God Himself. That's it. When you go outside your house and you're alone in that sukkah, and you're thinking the only thing I have is God Himself. And that's why we celebrate the holiday. Why we celebrate? Why are we sitting in Sukkot? Does anybody know? To commemorate what? What are we sitting in Sukkot? Commemorate? Clouds of glory. When we left Egypt, we walked into a desert land, no food, scorpions. It was hot. We're all going to die in a day. Miraculous clouds surrounded us. It was cool, air conditioned, killed all the scorpions. We made the step for God. God said, you made a step for me, I'll protect you. You make a step for me, I'll protect you. They made a step for God. They walked into the desert. God protected them. That's what happened. And we sit outside to remember when I left Egypt, God took us out of Egypt. He protected me. And in 2017, when I wake up every day, I'm going to sit outside the sukkah to tell God, this year, I'm going to take a step for you. I'm leaving my house. I'm making this, just like my ancestors took a step for you, I'm making a step for you. Even though it's not easy, and it's difficult, but I'm going to make a step for you. And in turn, God's going to take care of me. That's when people say, Rabbi, how am I supposed to get married? I have no money. It's impossible. I'm not going to be able to afford it. How am I supposed to go into a desert with no food? I'm not going to be able to make it. God says, go in there. And the Jews said, we'll go. No food. No. And they did, and guess what happened? Miraculously, they survived. This guy got married, remember? Okay, 5 kids later, he's still going strong. He's in my class. You're up to 5, right? Catching up to me. Who's counting? I'm sorry, I take it back. He's up to 10. So, get married. What was I going to do? What are we going to do? I don't know. God says, get married. It's time. Get married. What am I going to do? God says, you take a step for me, I'll take a step for you. Do what you got to do. I remember when Reuven was going out, you get married. What am I going to do? You get married. For the right reason, God will take care of you. I take you a step. Is it crazy? Of course it's crazy. You don't have a job. You got to support a family. How am I going to do it? It doesn't make any sense. I don't have enough money. God says, you take your thing, you be responsible, and I'll take care of you. So therefore, when we walk outside, look outside this tomorrow night, sit in the sukkah, 2 things you have to remind yourself. Number 1, Yaakov Avinu built Sukkot. He took all his money, all his animals, and he put it in Sukkot. To tell everything, all my possessions are temporary. He was telling the world, they're all temporary. I don't take them seriously. I take my animals, I put them in huts. Whatever happens, happens. I don't take him seriously. But he built a bayit. He built a base measures for his family. His spirituality, he built a bias. For his spirituality, he built a rock-solid home. For his physicality, he just built a temporary. When you walk into Sukkot, after this high, you're on a high, after this, you say to God, I'm going to take in all the materialism, but I'm going to focus on these 7 days. My materialism is going to be secondary. My spirituality is going to be number 1. Nothing wrong with materialism. Have it, enjoy it. But know what's priority. When you wake in the morning, my priority is going to shul to pray. I have to learn first. Got to talk to God, and then I go to work. I'll go to work all day and later on. No. First thing you wake up, I put on my tefillin. I put on my tzitzit. I go to synagogue. I learn. Then I go to work. That's my priority. First take care of my spirituality. Then I take care of my temporary. For the guys that wake up right away, they run into work. You're making your entire life temporary first. You're missing the boat. Sukkot is supposed to teach you that. Sukkot, temporary dwellings. Your physicality of this world is temporary. Remind yourself. You get a scratch in your car, it's temporary. You ruin those beautiful Gucci shoes, they're just a piece of leather. It's temporary. Relax. Calm down. Someone in your house, a pipe burst, it's temporary. It's only money. Remember that. But God forbid your kid is hanging out with the wrong people and it's taking him down. That's scary. That's spiritual. Taking him down spiritually, that you have to go crazy. Or if you see your son hanging in the wrong places, that you go crazy. That you lose your mind because that's spiritual. His soul's going down. He's hanging out with the wrong thing. He's not keeping Shabbat. You yell and scream because that's permanent. Shabbat is permanent. He didn't put on tefillin today. You yell. How can you not put on tefillin? That's your spiritual. That's permanent. Your kid tells you bashed your car. Okay, you bashed my Lexus. It's temporary. Say we'll fix it. But didn't put on tefillin one day. Guys, take that lesson to go. Have a great Sukkot. We're going to try to squeeze one in next week. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for listening. Tomorrow night, Sukkot. We'll see you there.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.